Greetings from Dystopia, episode 153, Hiking Tips, part 3. Start off with a recap again today, in no particular order, but this again is aimed at everybody. Some of it sounds really basic, but it never hurts to have that reinforcement. Speaking of reinforcement, how about rolling ankles? Stepped on a rut there. Alright, so know your fitness level. Know where you're at. You know, if you're coming straight off the couch, you, my friend, are not going to climb Mount Everest. So, know your fitness level. Pick trails that are appropriate for your fitness level. Number 2, know where you're going. Study an online map. Download and print a map. Study the map at the trailhead if it's a small park. You know where you're going. Know the trail. Read all the warnings at the trailhead if there's anything. Like I showed you the other day, this preserve right now is having a problem with coyotes. So they have a sign up to tell you. Number 3, file a flight plan. Tell a family member or a friend where you're going, how long you expect to be going. Yeah, obviously this, again, is not necessary in a small open park, but if you're going to go to some woods somewhere, tell somebody, let them know you're there. And again, how long you'll be gone, when you expect to be back. Number 4, alright, know your fitness, know where you're going, file a flight plan, check the weather. What's the weather going to be like? Here today, got a sunshiny day. It's extremely humid. It's about 84 right now. Let's see how good my built-in thermometer is. 77. But again, we have really high humidity today, so that adds to it. If you got, if it's going to rain, you might need to pack something a little bit heavier, a little bit, something to keep you dry. Shoes and socks. Make sure you have the appropriate footwear for where you're hiking, where you're walking. Again, like I said, you're not going to go hiking a muddy trail in stilettos. You're not going to walk a rough, gravelly trail with dress shoes. The appropriate footwear. Dry socks. Socks that perform wicking and dry quickly. Keep the moisture away from your feet and provide a little bit of padding. The clothes maketh the man or the woman. Dress appropriately. Wear light, quick drying, wicking fabrics. Think of your synthetics and your wools. Even like right now, I'm actually wearing a wool sock. It's a very thin wool sock, but it's still a wool sock. Provides a little bit of padding and wicks the moisture away from my feet. Go light when you can. There's no reason to carry, a 40-pound rucksack just for a quick walk. Think about, how you're going. Probably should have written all of this down, right? Gotta stop and think here a second. Yeah. Pack it in, pack it out, leave no trace. And that's where we got to yesterday. Make sure that you take out any junk that you bring in with you. And I'm on this big, wide trail. I just walked through a spiderweb. This trail is, 15 feet wide. 20 feet probably between the trees, and I still walk through spiderwebs. Obviously the first one down this trail. Alright, so I told you today we would talk about the 10 essentials, and we will. However, the light's going to be on my back in a second. So, there we go. Bright light. Let me wait till I'm in more of an eastward bound piece of trail, and I'll come back to you. Let's go back one. I forgot a tip. Set a pace. Forgot about that. Set your pace. I know what my walking pace is. Right now I'm going a little slower because I'm holding the camera and I don't want to trip and fall. So yeah, set your pace, 2 miles per hour you know, it's probably a good pace for you on average, especially if you're just starting out. How do you know your pace? There's a dozen different ways. We can talk about that more in detail down the road if that's something you guys are interested in knowing. The 10 essentials. I'll put a list of this in the description for today's episode. I actually had to pull up notes on this one, and of course now the wind picks up. I have no external mic. So we kind of touched on the first part of this earlier. Know where you're going. Maps, navigation. Know where you're going. You know, obviously, like here. Well, honestly, a map in this park would do you no good. This is another one I need to sit down and map completely and turn over the map to somebody, because there are so many trails here that are not on the township's official map. They've literally added, I'll bet you 2 miles of trails that are not on the city's maps. And even I have to stop sometimes and think, you know, where I'm at and orient myself using a GPS. GPS map. So, yeah, navigation's number one. Walking over some stumps here. Although I am right near where I saw the deer the other day. Number 2 of the essentials, sun protection. If you burn easily, if you are susceptible to heat stroke, you know, your eyes are sensitive to light, make sure you have some type of sun protection, whether it's a cream, big hat, long sleeves, and an SPF form shirt. I have several synthetic shirts that are SPF 50. Just the material itself provides sun protection. Insulation, again, if it's cooler, if it's raining, you need some type of insulation. Could be just as simple as an overshell or a light jacket or sweater. Think about that as you're, particularly on the shoulder seasons, you may not be, you know, carrying the appropriate jacket or the appropriate outerwear in general, because you're going to go out with a heavy coat on and think, oh, I'm going to be all sweaty now, and then you got to take the coat off. But what happens when you take the coat off? Body temperature drops. So just, you know, be conscious of how you're dressing. Illumination, lights, flashlight. A lot of people will say, well, you know, my phone has a flashlight in it, so I can just use that. Well, if you're using your phone for navigation, general contact, whatever, and you've got your flashlight on, what are you doing? You're draining your battery. Sooner or later, you're going to kill 2 important items, your map and your illumination. So just kind of keep that in mind as you do things like that. A separate flashlight, you can get one that's powered by a AAA battery that'll last 5, 6, 7 hours. You know, grab one of those, throw them in your kit. First aid. There's a lot to first aid, and we will definitely make that its own video. I'm not going to sit down and teach you first aid, but we will talk about the basics to have in your kit. I highly recommend that you take a first aid class, whether it's just a small community class at the fire station. Go ask, go see what they do. CPR certification never hurts. I mean, in fact, as part of that course, you learn basic first aid, so it definitely cannot hurt. Next one in our list is fire. It sounds silly, you know, especially if you're out walking in a community park. You can kind of put that one in the back of your mind. But if you're out in the woods, you need to think about fire. You need to think about, well, what if something happens? What if I fall and get hurt and, like a dummy, I've been using my flashlight on my phone, and my phone is my navigation. I'm going down a steep downhill. Oh crap, I ran my battery out. Now what do I do? So yeah, you may need to learn how to start a fire. You may need to have a way, whoops, sorry about that, to create a fire. Steep hills, I love it. Yeah, so again, fire, that's another one we can do if you're interested in. I can show you some basics on fire. Big old squirrel just ran across. Nutrition, I talked about carrying, protein bar. Carry the equivalent of one extra meal, one extra calorie intake. If you're on, 1,500 calories a day, 500 calories per meal. Carry 2 protein bars. Carry a protein bar and a banana. Carry a little bit of extra food for energy. As you guys have seen on my trip, sometimes I don't carry enough, even though I always have a meal with me. Sometimes I don't carry enough. And I've bonked a couple times on really long hikes. Had somebody coming up on the trail, so I gave them a respite from hearing my voice. So, yeah. Emergency food, extra food, not necessarily emergency food, but so we talked about that. Obviously, water, hydration. Make sure you have something to drink. Bring more than what you think, but don't bring enough to float the Titanic. Although that might be a little difficult. I don't know. Oh, he saw me finally. There's a squirrel here. He's trying to get a walnut in his mouth. He's carrying it up a tree. It won't do any good now. I can't zoom. But yeah, so hydration. Make sure you got water. Some type of emergency shelter on deeper woods. I know this sounds like a lot. Tomorrow, Saturday, I'll do a pack dump. I'll bring my small lumbar, well, it's not small, but I'll bring my lumbar pack out and we'll do a pack dump and we'll talk about what's in the pack. I always have the 10 essentials and then some. Just roll back to food real quick. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you've seen my little red zipper bag. That probably always has at least 600, 700 calories in it. Alright, just to put my money where my mouth is, this is my red bag that I was talking about. Let's see what's in here. Can I do this one-handed? Probably. Okay. Package of peanut butter. That's 190 calories. Sugar, coffee, and tea. I don't know what the sugar's worth. I think probably 30 calories each. I have some tuna in here. 70 calories a piece. 3 packs of tuna. Alright, so let's see. That's 7, 14, 21, 210. What was this again? 500 calories right there. Just in tuna and peanut butter. A little bit out of the sugar. These are probably calorie free, sugar free. Doesn't say. I'm going to assume that, yeah, it says low calorie. Alright, well, I'm out of protein bars and you go to the store, so I'll add one of these in there. That's 130. So 530. A few more oddball calories from the Ricola. And that's the reason I do that. I can grab that pack and just throw it into whatever the bag is of the day. Spiders everywhere. Okay, and yeah, so back to the other one. The last one is some form of shelter. Is it always necessary? No, clearly not if you're walking in a community park. But there's people that have gotten lost 2 miles off, 2 miles from a trailhead. They've gotten lost and not been able to find their way out. That happens every year. So make sure you have some form of shelter. It can be a space blanket. Could even be a large garbage bag, a contractor's bag. You've all seen my Z-Packs. Z-Packs? You've all seen my little pyramid shelter. I'll put a photo of it up right here. That is virtually always in my pack. Make sure that you have navigation of some form, a map and a compass, sun protection, particularly if you're sensitive to sun and heat injuries. Insulation, winter and shoulder seasons, make sure you have some type of additional insulation. In the summer, it never hurts to carry a thin waterproof jacket if it looks like rain is a possibility. Flashlight. Need I say more? Do not use the flashlight on your phone as your primary source of illumination, especially if you're using your phone as a GPS. First aid supplies. Carry a small kit. Band-aid, blister tape, tick removal, a pair of tweezers, and a small needle to get out big slivers, because you do get slivers out in the woods. Extras in the first aid kit. Repair kit and tools. I think I skipped over that one. This is more for camping and long duration hiking, but always have a pocket knife. Always have some type of tool that you can cut with, that you can, take something apart if you need to, or tighten something up if you need to. So yeah, make sure you always got a repair kit of some form and make it appropriate. If you have an air mattress, you need a patch kit. Doesn't have to be, an entire patch kit. I have found tenacious tape and Gorilla tape to be pretty freaking incredible for patching holes. Nutrition, yeah, make sure you bring extra food, even if it's 500 calories. Some protein bars I've seen are 600. I think the average is like 200, 250 calories. So make sure you got some extra food with you. Hydration, you always have water. You should always have water. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Be good, be well. Wear a mask if you have one, if you need to. And that's it. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. But yeah, suddenly that snow flipped over to rain. It was maybe 28 that day, not quite 30. I was not going to risk exposure by, not seeking shelter. So what did I do? I put up my little shelter. Speaking of know where you go,